think he asked Big Bill Brunsey. He says, Big Bill, that blues music you play, you call that folk music? And Big Bill says, well, I've never heard no horses sing none of it. I told you not to mention wild folk dancing.
There were two drunken maidens come from the Isle of Wight. They drank from Monday morning all through till Saturday night. When Saturday night had come, me boys, they wouldn't then go out. And these two drunken maidens, they pushed the jug about. These two drunken maidens, they pushed the jug about. Then up comes bouncing Sally, her cheeks as red as a bloom. Move over, jolly sisters, and give young Sally some room. For I'll be your equal before we three go out. And these three drunken maidens, they push the jug about. These three drunken maidens, they push the jug about. There's woodcock and pheasant, there's partridge and hare. There's all sorts of dainties, no scarcity was there. There's 30 quarts of beer, me boys, they fairly drunk them out. And these three drunken maidens, they pushed the jug about. These three drunken maidens, they pushed the jug about. Then up and comes the landlord, he's asking for his pay. It's a 30-pound bill, me boys, these girls were forced to pay. That's 10 pounds apiece, me boys, but still they wouldn't go out. And these three drunken maidens, they pushed the jug about. These three drunken maidens, they pushed the jug about. Feather hats, your mantles rich and fine, they've all been swallowed up in tankards of good wine. And where are your maiden heads that you made so brisk and gay? We left them in the alehouse, we drank them clean away. We left them in the alehouse, we drank them clean away.
Hi everybody, welcome to Horses Sing None of It. We have Gene Farnworth here today with us, playing folk instruments and singing madrigals and all kinds of nice things. And Ralph Littman, co-host here today to join us, and welcome.
Thank you.
What kind of instruments have you brought with you today?
Well, I have brought two 12-string guitars, one of which is this one, which is a dear friend that I've had for about 23 years now, and a brand new dear friend. And I've brought my Irish harp, which is made by Chris and Therese Caswell from California. She's got 31 strings and sharping levers. And I've got a whole pile of things to do. And
now, I can't help but noticing, Jean, that you're dressed in an unusual fashion. Sort
would
of
you
like
like
that,
this? This
yeah.
is the latest for the 11th century.
11th century.
I do a lot of Renaissance fairs, and I have a lot of fun doing it. And one of my hobbies is sewing. I mean, everybody has to do something on the side. So I sew.
So you make these yourself?
I make these myself. Well, you can't walk into Macy's and say, "Oh, could I please have an 11th century tunic?" And they say, "What?" So the only recourse is the sewing machine. And I made friends with mine, and I do all right. I know I don't like the actual act of sewing. I like the result.
The result. Our camera person was noticing that the poster on the wall behind you looks like approximately the same period of time.
Well, documenting this stuff is difficult because a lot of records were lost, and a lot of the records that the church had involved religious things, and I like to research the secular end of things. So I wind up going to the cloisters and looking at grave statues and morbid things to find out what sort of sleeves they had and what sort of underdresses they had. And the shoes are a sort of an ancestor of the Scottish ghillie shoe that Scottish dancers wear. And this is an earlier form of that shoe. So
what about this harp that you've got there?
This harp
what
that
type
I've
of harp
got
is
here.
that?
This is an Irish harp, as opposed to the big concert ones that are pedal harps. The way I get my sharps and flats is by these handy dandy little levers here. It's very much like bending a note on a guitar. They work that way. And I'm set up.
What kind of sounds can you get on that?
Oh, very pretty ones. Very pretty ones. I'll play you a tune that I wrote for the harp. It's called Planxty Sir Anaron, which is a fanciful title. It was written for a friend of mine whose real name is Joanne Wilkie. But he plays in the Society for Creative Anachronism and took the name of Sir Anaron.
Wait a second, hold everything. Society for Creative Anachronism?
This is a bunch of folks who dress up in medieval clothes and go and have feasts and do events and shoot archery and practice broadsword and shield and all sorts of things. So if you see people with their cars full of very strange objects driving down the road, you probably are a good bet they're either doing a Ren Fair or they're in the SCA. We call it the SCA for short.
A couple weeks ago, I played at a Civil War reenactment, which is kind of the same thing, but several centuries later.
Right.
Everybody was dressed up as Civil War gear, riding horses.
There's medieval, and there's Renaissance, and there's a Revolutionary War reenactment groups, and there's Civil War, and there's buckskin reenactment groups. And you can take a trip through the past in any century you want these days. It's great. Just checking to make sure the lights didn't get to her. All right, I think we're in business.
Gene Farnworth on the Celtic harp, the symbol of Ireland.
That's true, it is.
And we're going to take just a moment or two and be right back with you. So be back with you.
Today's the day you can decide what kind of life your kids and their kids will have.
If we don't do something about global warming will surely do something about them.
Before long, America's heartland might have to live with temperatures over 90 degrees for almost a third of each year.
Chicago now has 2 weeks a year over 90 degrees. In just 60 years, it could expect 2 months each year.
If the weather in Dallas could go over 100 degrees for 2.5 months, imagine what could happen in Phoenix.
If you think global warming is only about warmer temperatures, it's only the beginning.
In our kids' lifetimes, drinking water could be a problem as salty ocean water backs into our rivers.
America's heartland could have trouble growing the corn, wheat, and oats that we need for bread and cereal.
Every man, woman, and child can help make a difference, and that includes you.
The Sierra Club can show you how. Find out today. Your children, your grandchildren are counting on you.
Well, Gene, it's good to see you back behind the harp, but you've changed in some way. What's this costume you're wearing now?
Well, I wear this one depending on how I accessorize it. I wear this one for anything from colonial era through Civil War to the turn of the century. If I wear it with a little high-necked blouses and put the ribbon in the cameo, it becomes later century. And with this little jobby and the detached collar, detached collar is the whole 19th century. Mm-hmm. People had collars and cuffs separate from their shirts and clothes, and of course lace petticoats and hoop skirts were in, but I wasn't sure how much space we'd have. A hoop skirt takes 120 inches around, so I thought I'd leave that home just to be safe.
What kind of music are you going to do for us?
I would love to play you a tune that I learned from Aideen O'Donnell, who I took harp lessons from for a while.
We had her on the show.
Yeah, she's a wonderful person, and this tune is a Celtic tune, but the Irish have different words than the Scottish folk do. And I learned her Irish words, and I love it. It's one of those sad ballads, sad romantic ballads. So I'll play it for you. It's called Red is the Rose. Red is the rose that in yonder garden grows, and fair is the lily of the valley. Clear is the water that flows through the void, but my love is fairer than any. Come over the hills, my bonny Irish lad. but my love is fairer than any.
Wow. It's not hard to hear why they picked the harp as the instrument for angels supposedly play.
Right, right. Either that or it's because during the persecution times, a lot of the Irish harpers were hung as subversive elements. So, yeah. So there's a double-edged sword there. But it's very romantic, and it's a big hit at weddings. And I do love it.
Yeah. So what else do you have up your sleeve? You're going to switch over to guitar? And
I think I'll switch over to guitar, yes.
You have a group that you play with, Double Trouble.
I work with several different groups, Ralph. Oh, the Soldier's Fancy, which is Marie Malarchek and Hazel Pilcher and Kathy Devine and myself. And, of course, Double Trouble, which is Evie Mayer and myself. And we try not to crisscross the repertoire too much. We try to keep things pretty separate so the groups don't compete with each other. And we have a good time with it.
Both terrific groups.
Thanks, thanks. Well, one of the things I wanted to play on this large guitar is recently the remains of Lord Franklin, who went searching for the Northwest Passage, were found. And it brought to mind this song. I had learned the song a long time ago and I'd forgotten about it. And this is called Lord Franklin, or Lady Franklin's Lament. It was homeward bound one night on the deep. Swinging in my hammock, I fell asleep. I dreamed a dream, and I thought it true, concerning Franklin and his gallant crew. With 100 sailors he went away to the frozen ocean in the month of May, to seek that passage around the pole where we poor sailors do sometimes go. Through cruel hardships they vainly strove. Their ship on mountains of ice was drove. Only the Eskimo in his skin canoe was the only one who ever came through. In Baffin's Bay, where the whalefish blow, the fate of Franklin no man may know. The fate of Franklin no tongue can tell. Lord Franklin with his sailors does dwell. And now now my burden, it gives me pain. For my long-lost Franklin, I'd cross the Main. 10,000 pounds I would freely give to say on earth that my Franklin do live.
Gene Farnworth. Well, we're going to take a break of just a moment or so and come right back with you, so stick with it.
Dummy. You're pathetic. You little brat.
Child abuse is also known by some other words.
Jerk. You moron. You're so clumsy.
Words like these can hit as hard as a fist.
You were never born. I hate you.
What you say to your children can determine how they feel about
You
themselves
slob. You're worthless.
and how they feel about you. Get the picture. Stop using words that hurt. Start using words that help. For helpful information, contact us.
I don't know if you'll remember me, but I'll never forget you. I'm Mr. Signorelli's daughter. I didn't think about what would happen if he went into cardiac arrest. I didn't realize that at 6 a.m., a nurse would call the shots and save his life.
If you have the smarts and the guts to study biology, chemistry, anatomy, and psychology, call 1-800-962-NURSE. If caring were enough, anyone could be a nurse.
Well, welcome back to Horses Sing None of It. We're here with Jean Farnworth, who's now in her 1990 clothes. And we're going to show Jean's address on the screen so you can get in touch with her if you'd like to find out about her albums or the groups where she's playing and so forth. And we're going to take it out with Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Yes.
Take it away, Jean.
Pardon me, sir. Is that the Chattanooga Choo Choo? Track number 9. Yeah, you can give me a shine. I can afford to board a Chattanooga Choo Choo. I got my fare and just a trifle to spare. They leave the Pennsylvania station about 3:45. Read a magazine and then you're in Baltimore. Dinner at the diner, nothing could be finer than to have your ham and eggs in Carolina. When you hear the whistle blow and 8 to the bar, then you know that Tennessee is not very far. Shovel all the coal in, got to keep it rolling. Oh, oh, Chattanooga, there you are. call funny face. She's gonna cry till I tell her that I never more will wrong. So Chattanooga choo-choo, why don't you choo-choo me home one more time? Chattanooga choo-choo, why don't you choo-choo me home?
I told you not to mention wild folk dancing.